Well, we all love the Anzac Day round of football, but every year, to me, it emphasises the equality of opportunity for individual players around the competition is very uneven. It started on the Wednesday night, Anzac Eve. You know that Richmond are playing Melbourne, and they'll be playing Melbourne next year and the year after at the MCG, like the Field of Dreams, the Coliseum, with a packed crowd. The following day, you have Collingwood are going to play Essendon this year and next year and the year after that. Every year, this Coliseum, the Field of Dreams, is just an outstanding. Players love to be involved. Then I turned on the TV, of course, to go to the Canberra game, where the Giants were playing the Lions on Anzac night. And you kind of thought, if you didn't know your footy, you would have thought we were going to a venue for a B-grade competition or something. So different than the MCG blockbuster. And I kind of think to myself, so that whether it's, to be cruel, whether it's been played in Hobart, the game in Hobart, the Gold Coast at the moment, where there's 10,000 people there, or whether it's in Canberra, I mean, these are very small venues. The players aren't getting that big buzz of playing at the big stadiums. And so 3 out of the 9 games on Anzac Day round probably came into this category. And we're having a 19th team seemingly coming from Tasmania. Then we'll want to have a 20th team to even up the competition. And I can guarantee you those 19th and 20th teams won't be having the blockbusters at the MCG. So it's just one of those basic realities. The equalisation for teams works fairly well. The uneven distributions to finance clubs, whether it's the salary caps, whether it's the draft system where the bottom club gets the first pick. But when you get draft, you can be very lucky or quite unlucky when you're talking about equality of opportunity.
I did cross my mind the other day, Leigh, watching Ben Mackay play in front of 95,000 at the MCG, or Jay Gresham, who was at St Kilda as well. What an amazing opportunity it is for these players who've never had that chance before. But my question to you is, what's the solution? How do you have that equality of opportunity when you know you need to grow the game to non-traditional footy markets?
There is no solution.
Simple.
It's a fact. It's just a reality. It's just an unfortunate reality of the national competition. And we've gone to 18 teams. Now we might be going to 19, maybe then to 20. And the more teams we have, the more... What's the opposite of the blockbuster games? Because we'll have more of them.
Yeah, the tumbleweed game. Can we talk about the Giants and the Brisbane Lions, Jimmy? This was a game that was decided by 54 points. The Brisbane Lions hit the front in the first quarter, then conceded 9 unanswered goals. But what did you like about the Giants?
Yes, this game was at Mardiga on the Thursday night, a bit different from the MCG. But what stood out the most was the Giants' ball movement and speed across the ground. And they left Brisbane in their wake. But it's that first kick from Finn Callahan being risk and reward. Brisbane Lions' defence is all scrambled. Guess who gets it back again? Run from behind. Finn Callahan, the rosy cheek assassin. He just keeps running through. Again, look, Lions' defence is absolutely scrambled. They're able to get the ball out the back. You've got 2 players wanting to raffle it there, Hogan and Riccardi. It was the speed throughout the night, which the Giants just release and go. It's high risk, but big reward on the end of it. Even without a few of their best players, Leigh. Before I get your thoughts on the Brisbane Lions, Chris Fagan seemed out of answers in his press conference after the match.
Did you feel the effort was where it needed to be in the second half?
No. First half I thought was fine. Second half, that's well below par.
What do you put that down to?
It's a good question. I don't really know the answer at this point in time. I have no excuses. We just didn't work as hard as they did.
Leigh, this is worrying signs for the Brisbane Lions, and we've spoken about the Lions for the last few weeks, but I've actually developed an alternate view. I think they could win their next 4 and be 6 and 5. I know this is against the grain. I know they're not playing great footy. They might not win the flag this year. But even if they don't, they could have a gap year, like what Geelong did last year, and go again next year. That's their list profile. But it doesn't take anything away from the fact that their performances are still subpar.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's thinking that far ahead, Tom. I think ahead when they play the Suns on next Sunday night. No, basically, I mean, they got cleaned up in the second half really badly. And when I look at that vision, I would say to the Lions forwards, you're just not locking the ball in. The ball is just bouncing out of that part of the ground way too easily. And, of course, the Orange Tsunami, as it's been termed, they just run and create an overlap and did it brilliantly through the middle of the ground in that particular game. But let me take you back again. I know, tell me you've never done a press conference. Jimmy, you may have, I'm not sure. But so half hour after the game, you're getting asked questions. What, you got all the answers? You know what's happened. Now you have to process it all over a day or two to work out, OK, how did that happen? Why did it happen? What are we going to try and do in our review process and our training process to be better next week? So thinking that half hour after a game, a coach is like some kind of guru who knows exactly what happened and why, at that point of the game, your minds are scrambled as the players, and you need to process things and probably watch the replay to reinforce your first thoughts.
I'll keep that in mind next week when I see some press conferences and take them with a grain of salt, Leigh. I really like that. Anzac Day, the game at the MCG, as we mentioned before, Jimmy, was an absolute cracker. And Collingwood started slowly again. Essendon got out of the blocks. And then in the end, it was just an unbelievable finish, wasn't it? A draw was the result.
Yeah, Essendon were absolutely scorched earth in the first 4 minutes. They put that many goals on the board, and it was only a couple of minutes of game time. And opponents are going to throw themselves absolutely at Collingwood. When the Premier comes up, everyone wants to test themselves against the reigning Premier. Collingwood's pressure has actually been good, but the opposition's been matching it, and they've been able to get out the front and score some easy goals, like the other day in Anzac Day, when Essendon were able to get some really easy goals, driving out through the front of contests. So they're prepared for it. It's not a doom and gloom scenario, but they haven't been great in the first 10 minutes over the last 2 weeks, outscored by 6 goals total.
They were 17 and 7 in first quarters last year, Leigh, Collingwood, and they're 3 and 4 this year.
Yeah.
But Essendon Footy Club is playing some excellent footy, and it all starts in the midfield.
Todd Goldstein has been outstanding. I mean, he's always been a good player for a long time, Todd, but he's in the veteran stage of his category. But in terms of directing the ball, like hit-outs that actually go somewhere, so Merritt's been terrific all year. Stringer's been really good all year. Parrish was probably played his best game he's played this year in the Anzac Day game. And then they've had Durham and Perkins, other players in there. So they're much more solid now around those stoppage situations. But as I say, Todd Goldstein is very much part of what's happening this year.
Todd Goldstein, who would have thought he'd come in and have such a significant impact in his first year at the Bombers?